I'm reviewing Flood by Hippo, and this is for my day ones. Well, alright, I gotta be honest, I don't have any day ones. When I started this channel, I didn't tell anybody, and it was almost a week and like 3 videos until I got my very first view. But instead, this is gonna be a video for my day 24s, okay? 24 days into doing this channel, I reviewed the album Bambi by Hippo, and that was the first time I really went viral. Well, for me, it was viral. I got 20 views in one day. It got totally up in my head. I'm like, oh my god, I could do this. I'm so popular, I can't believe this. Eventually, I kept on grinding, and by January 2019, so about 6 months later, I had 100 subscribers. And what did I do with that 100 subscribers? I did a review of a different Hippo album. And they're a very important band to this channel, a very important band to me, just one of many that I just picked randomly, and then it turns out that I found they had a fan base, and that fan base, for whatever reason, cared about what I thought. It was the first time I ever had contact with a band. Well, it wasn't really the band, it was the drummer's father. He sent me messages saying they all sit around and watch my reviews and like it. If you're watching now, hey, what's up? But you know, like it's a fun thing for me. So they're a fascinating band because I've loved them and they've meant so much to me, and they've very clearly been going through a lot. They've been going through a lot since that time, almost exactly 6 years ago, when I did this review of this album. And it takes me a long time to process what they're doing and what's happening right now. Because, okay, let me get into it. So the funny thing is, I went back and I looked at my thumbnail from 6 years ago. And there it is. First of all, I used to cover up my face because I thought no one wanted to see my face. They just wanted to see the same font, the same color, covering the page. Everyone wants to click on that. But what's funny is, this is what I wrote. Amazing production, annoying singer. Now, I don't think he's an acquired taste of a singer. What makes him annoying is not like a sort of idiosyncratic annoyingness. It's more like a smoothness, which can be annoying, which we'll talk about in a second. And then post-hype sleepers. And that's what interests me the most. The way that I called the fact that they were post-hype sleepers. This was like, I don't know, my 7th or 8th video I ever made. And so I didn't know anything about them, but what I had read was that, their first album that had come out before was this very promising album, and everyone really loved it, and then now it seemed like they were past the hype and into this sort of stage where people were just sort of saying, what are you going to do? And I'm not going to use the same thumbnail, but I could sort of have the same thumbnail, because that's what fascinates me so much about them, is this kind of struggle. And it feels like a lot of it is the struggle of, being named NPR's band to watch in 2017. Is that a curse, or is that a curse? Is there any way that's anything other than a curse? So I've gone on a journey with this album. I ended up really loving it, and thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who's been thinking a lot about bands. I've been. If you're on my Patreon, I do these vlogs every Friday. I'm going to do a little video essay vlog called "The Flanderization of Rick Beato," sort of thinking about commentary culture and what it encourages. And I like Rick Beato's stuff a lot, and he's been talking a lot about bands, about how hard it is for bands to succeed, about how difficult it is for bands to stay together. A lot of it's about how easy it is to make music now by yourself and the group dynamics. And I really feel like Hippo is a great band, in the sense that at least I feel a lot of that sort of the tension and the frustration. And I think what I feel a lot of is, so I've been talking about their album Bambi, and I love this album. I bought it on CD and on vinyl. I saw the tour 2 times. I made videos about the whole thing. You'll have to check it out. However true to myself I am, if something works, I do try it a second time. But this is a 10 out of a 10 album. This is like, I'm not saying that Hippo will never do anything this good again, but I don't think they can do anything better, okay? So how does a band process that? How does a band go from making a, in my opinion, pure distillation of what they can do? What do they do after that? Because they can't just do the same thing. And then beyond that, what if that doesn't, work? What if you can't go from being a very well respected, very well loved, semi-regional but national indie rock band into becoming a mainstream band? It's like, that must be crushing. I think of another band, My Morning Jacket. I have a very complicated history with them. That might be on a vlog sometime. But they released their album Evil Urges, I want to say 2008 maybe, and like, if you like or dislike My Morning Jacket, I don't really care which one you feel, like, that was it. Like, that was, like, if they were ever going to make it to the next step, if they were ever going to be the next thing, that was going to be the album. And it didn't. So, I don't know. I'm just kind of jamming here. If you're sort of getting where I'm going, I hope. That, like, the difficulty of being in a band is, how do you hang out with your best friends and your longtime partners and all that and feel sort of like, I imagine, constantly enslaved by success and failure, sort of simultaneous success and failure that can be represented by releasing something so good that is, like, not fully understood or does not open up the door to the next round of success. Personally, I think probably it's better not to be successful. It's probably best to be successful enough that you don't need a day job, but not so successful that you can afford a McMansion. But that's just my opinion. And I think you see that crisis with this album. I mean, I saw it with the previous one. So their last album, LP3, was sort of very odd. They did a lot of interesting decisions with it. They're sort of trying to push the edges. And then on this one, it's called Flood, and the artwork is like their logo either drowning or melting. You know, really, you feel that struggle here. And struggle is the word I keep coming back to, because I struggled with this album. So I have a very, very firm policy. If I love a band or I love an artist and I don't like what they do immediately, I tell myself to shut up, okay? I say, Sky, you shut up. This is Hippo effing Campus. This is not some random band that you found somewhere. This is not some random who's-y what's-its. This is Hippo Campus. So if you don't like it right off the bat, that could be a you problem, not a them problem, okay? So I was going to release this video on Tuesday. I was going to record it on Tuesday. Instead, I did like a sort of quick Playboy Cardi weekend thing. I talked about a song, so I could spend basically an entire week with this album. All right, so hopefully I've earned back your trust after I admitted to chasing clicks from time to time. I know this is not going to get a ton of clicks. My rock stuff doesn't get many clicks these days. But I really wanted to sit with this and treat this band that I love with the respect that it deserves. And that meant that I didn't review it on Tuesday. I actually missed the 6-year anniversary of my first review, but I was able to sit with it for a lot longer. And I played it for my family who all loves Hippo Campus as well, and none of them knew it was Hippo Campus, okay? Like, my wife was like, who is this? I'm like, it's Hippo Campus. She's like, did they change their lead singer? I'm like, no. And I was talking about it with her, and she's like, no, it's not that I dislike it. It's that there's something that I like that's been lost. And that was the feeling I had the first time, too. So I want to really dive into that. And again, this is a positive review. I like this album, but I want to take you on my journey through it. The term that kept coming back to me is an old Devo lyric. We're through being cool. All right? Do you know that song? It's a great song. Ironically, Devo was always cool. Still is. That's what it feels like. It feels like Hippo Campus, the ultimate college, regional, indie rock band, is just like not trying to be cool anymore. And on the one hand, that stings because, you know, cool bands are cool. And why do you listen to indie rock if you're not trying to be cool? But on the other hand, like, man, cool is affect. Cool is effort. Cool is a desire to project a certain amount of detachment and a lack of sincerity. And maybe what the world needs is more sincerity. And certainly from these guys. And you know, I pitched this theory to my daughter, you know, my 16-year-old daughter, not my 2-year-old daughter on the baby monitor. If she starts crying, the video is going to end abruptly. So there's some suspense for you. Suspense. she's like, Dad, they were never cool. I'm like, you're just saying that because back then you were only listening to Panic at the Disco. But I do think it's true that, like, the college rock indie aspect of the band maybe wasn't always a great fit. And the comparison that I want to make with sort of how I feel about them is the way I felt all the way back 20 years ago when I was in college about Bruce Springsteen. Now listen, Bruce Springsteen is a venerated hero of the counterculture and of American pop culture and of the working class and the Lincoln Center and buddies with Obama and all that stuff. I can tell you, in the 1990s, Bruce Springsteen was not it. He was not cool. He was the opposite of cool. He was the born in the USA douchebag. That's what we called him. All right? I don't know why I said that like Trump, but that's what we call him. We call him born in the... okay? Great Trump impersonation. But the thing was, when I was in college, I had a friend who taught me about Bruce Springsteen, and I realized, oh, wait a minute. He's actually very cool. He's just not trying to be cool. I was a Neil Young guy, the epitome of cool. Mr. Cool, Mr. Hard Edge, Mr. Rough sounding, Mr. Whiny, Mr. That. There's a kind of coolness that Bruce Springsteen has, a kind of earnestness, a straightforwardness, and that's what I feel in this new Hippocampus album. Now, at times, I'm going to make other comparisons, which may seem a lot less flattering. You know, like 21 Pilots, or even, God damn it, I hate saying this about one of my favorite bands, but Coldplay. Okay? Hell, I even might mention Savage Garden for you old heads in the back. But what's important is that the music is good. The songs are great. The production's still great. It's just a different form. And I think it has something to do with the production. It's like, it's not worse produced. It's not more badder producedliness. It's more that it's softer. Like my wife said, more anonymous, which she only heard it once, so that makes sense. But like, whereas before, you know, on an album like Bambi, you know, the song like, you know, Dow, you know, or a song like Bubbles, with all these crazy ideas and developments and choices. Here it's like a stone that's been smoothed till it's shiny and reflective. And ultimately, when you sit with it, and you really sit with it, you come to love it. You come to appreciate it. You come to really enjoy this world that you're in. If you like what you see, smash the like bucket, subscribe. I'm in my bathrobe, and not because I'm calm and relaxed and chill, which I am, but because I wake up an hour early to do these videos because my house is filled with children at this point, and they all demand attention. So I want to give you a stamp, an example song. And I'm going to go with the song that's the most hippocampus-y, the least in line with this new style, the most in line with the old style, which helps me to understand that what they're doing now is a very clear choice, not just like they can't make an album like Bambi anymore. I think they could. I think they could easily make Bambi 2. Sorry, is there a Bambi 2, like a Disney straight to video Bambi 2 movie? There must be. The Revenge. So it's called Tooth Fairy. So you can click above the bird feeder. I don't know if there have been any birds today. And it's a little more traditional. It's got this great opening thing with it. The singer is singing high to low. These little weird guitar notes in the back. My number one problem with the album is just that I love the drummer, and I feel like of all the things that have been maybe over-polished, I feel like the drum production's maybe a little over-polished. I feel like maybe they need to let him off the chain a little bit more than he is here. But this song is not that. This song, he's doing a little bit more. He's writing an interesting drum line, and it comes in after this descending singing, nice kind of music. And it's, you know, they've always sort of had a kind of vampire-y, weekendy, sort of precious baroqueness to it, and that's really in this song. I love these lyrics. Lost my teeth in a dream I had, white dental floss in the palm of my hand. I think a lot about, okay, this is weird. This is weird. This is weird because I was talking about recurring nightmares with my wife the other day. And different people have different recurring nightmares. Like, don't read too much into your dreams. They're probably not that important. But recurring nightmares might say something. So my number one recurring nightmare is not that my teeth fall out. I have Darth Vader mouth. I used to eat candy in high school a lot. I ate candy the way crack addicts smoked crack. Like, that was how much I ate candy in high school. It was terrible. I didn't brush my teeth. So I got crowns and crowns and crowns in there. Okay, I got more crowns than the tutors in my mouth. So my nightmares are that my crowns fall out, because that actually happens in real life. And so he's singing about that. And then my other nightmare, recurring nightmare, is watching airplanes crash. I'm terrified of flying. It's a control thing. If your parents are alcoholics, you're probably afraid of flying too. See a therapist. It might get better. But like, seeing airplanes crash happens all the time. And it happens so much that when I have nightmares about watching airplanes crash, I talk to other people and say, oh my God, this is what my nightmares are about. And the single for this song is like an airplane looking like it's crashing into the ocean. So I don't know. Maybe me and the lead singer got the same problems. Who knows? White dental floss in the palm of my hand, got a brand new pair of shoes, and a fear of the dead. Too slow, let's go, get me out of my head. My favorite themes in music are honest themes, right? That's what I love, and it really feels like he's trying to get out of his head. I think I've said this before, but the lead singer has the most sort of Bo Burnham energy of any rock star that I can think of. The sort of like overthought, nerdily handsome, super. I mean, okay, Bo Burnham's not Midwestern. He's from Massachusetts. But if you're from Massachusetts, he's from the Midwest part of Massachusetts. You know what I mean, if you know what I mean. But that's sort of like self-aware, way up in your head, super smart, super precocious. Just the kind of people where I want to meet them and say, just wait to get old, because you'll be fine. Just like once you hit like 50 or 60, you'll be fine. But just being young really sucks for you right now. Just let it go. And I like that. Get me out of my head. The bass here is a little bit harder than it is in the rest of the album. And all these lyrics are all about falling apart. I really enjoy them. Changing my sheets. I got a scrape on my knee. I got no time to eat. I'm having a panic attack. Got a chicken that's clucking and it never shuts up. Got a van that's broken. I'm sad about that. I don't know. It could be about divorce. He sings about divorce as well. There's just amazing little breakdown with this kind of slide sound, and then it leads into this little guitar exercise, almost like a Sweet Child of Mine guitar exercise, and it just builds up to this breakdown, and then finally they're letting Whistler go, they're letting the drummer go. He's doing this crazy thing where he hits the hi-hat, and you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to play the hi-hat along with him, because he's like, and there's a tss, and like, when does he do that tss? And you have to actually really counter what he does is he does the tss right before the 3, not on a note, but right before the 3. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like this. Like right before. It's not on the end or the Indiana. Oh, it's great. Great, fun drum outro. So I still have bronchitis, so if I'm kind of sniffling and snarfling, that's why. And so it's a great reminder of what they can do, what they have done. Now let's get into the rest of the album a lot quicker, this kind of new style. Prayer Man is the first track, a very sincere-sounding Stratocaster, warm and comforting, like builds this like really... my main issue, I think, and I hate to be this kind of guy because I don't like talking about mixing. I feel like maybe the way the drums are produced, they're just too, like, muffled or something. I don't know what it is. There's something about the sound of the drums that I wish were a little bit more raw. But again, what they're going for here is not raw. Sort of interesting, more lyrics about fragility, mental fragility, juggling infinity the best I can, trying to catch it, but it slips through my hands. Everything just keeps resolving, and we have this kind of semi-spiritual... Have you ever listened to a good Christian rock album? They exist. There's definitely good Christian rock albums. This album kind of reminds me of that. Not that it's a Christian rock album, but that sense of like, oh, what if rock and roll is not trying to be cool? What if it has like a different aim? That's kind of how this feels to me. And then, I don't think that Prayer Man is about prayer, actually. Out of the darkness, into the light, I need a prayer man to keep me alive. Filled with good hook. I'm sorry, this album is it's really up in my head You know, I'm really fascinated by it because it's like the way this is produced is not the way that people who listen to Hippocampus probably want it to be produced. It's produced in a way that it could be like a hit song for, I don't know, like a adult contemporary radio station, like the kind of hit song where you hear it and you go, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, and then you actually listen to it and you're like, oh, actually, this is a really well produced. This is a really well. You ever actually listen to the song "Prayer Man" by Hippocampus? I know you hear it all the time, but like, anyways, that's why this album fascinates me. I'm sorry. Every once in a while, I get the house finches, and there's a little bush over there, and you're just gonna have to deal with the house finches. So they just, man. I guess it makes sense because they're on the house. And it's about prayer doing nothing, and there's all these nice little moments too. There's this really cool ambient guitar solo line, kind of like ringing and droning, and yeah, I love how they let it ride a little bit at the end. This is a perfect example because the first time I heard the song, I was like, "Oh shit, I can't review this album. I don't want to shit on a band that I really like." And then like I'm like, well, I'll listen to it again. I'm like, well, I guess it's kind of okay. And now I can't wait to hit stop because I want to hit. I need a prayer man, boo. You know. Next song, Paranoid. No one expected them to do a Black Sabbath cover, and they didn't. This has kind of upbeat Bruce Springsteen-y drums. I don't know. Kind of makes me think. I love the bridge. It's super well produced. This is that like weird mixture of like overproduced and quirky that this whole album has. And the lyrics really feel like it's actually about struggling with being paranoid. And, you know, I don't really suffer from paranoia. I have known people who suffer from paranoia. And we kind of throw it around like a thing, but it's like a really destructive force. So it feels like it's actually about paranoia. Nice bridge with the acoustic guitars turned up in the mix a little bit. I just need a break from being so effing paranoid. Next song is called Feces. Just kidding. It's called Fences, but I auto-corrected it to Feces. This is what the first time I got the kind of Bruce Springsteen comparison. Like the chord structures feel kind of Bruce to me. It just resolves a lot. Jeez, man. Okay, this is what I wrote in my. Yeah, it's like this could be a song for Midwestern soccer moms, right? Like, it could work for them, okay? And I wrote that, and in my notes I wrote, also fuck you. I wrote fuck you to me for saying something that sounds like I'm insulting this song, which I'm not. It's just that it's the paradox. It's the paradox of this album for me. Fairly surprising chord progressions in the second verse. You know, they're still doing lots of interesting stuff, even if it's maybe less edgy. Very cool bridge here. Why is it always greener on the other side? And the instrumental bridge. Okay, this is the other thing. Okay, I'm doing like a lot of praise and a little critique. I just wish that they went a little bit longer on things like the instrumental bridge here because it's just so killer. But maybe, you know, hopefully I'll get to see them live again. And because it has this great atmosphere that I just wish they kind of let it ride a little bit. Which I think when they were like releasing their magnum opus, you know, their chef d'oeuvre, that they would have maybe given it more time. Everything at once. Love this lead guitar line. Okay, so this is wild because it's this sort of like saccharinely sweet picked guitar line that ends on this jazzy discordant chord. Good. It's awesome. It's great. It's even better than the way I did it. And that's the whole album in one little bit here. It's that it's offbeat and it's discordant. It's a really cool guitar line that is very sort of unsettling. I think these lyrics are about the Protestant work ethic. I feel like these are kind of Tim Walsey lyrics. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, it's all Minnesota. But, you know, it's all about, like, you draw blood for half the price. I grew up on what Jesus saves. Work hard and it falls in place. Punch that clock till you hit the grave. The kind of bill of goods that the Protestant work ethic has been for most working class people. and a full like pop style bridge with like playing the floor toms and singing and the quiet moment before going back to the chorus. You see, I don't think they're trying to make it into some other market. I don't think they're trying to make it onto adult contemporary radio, right? That's what's wild. It's like if they were selling out because there was some way to sell out and they could follow the path, then that might be what they were trying to do. But there isn't a market for how they've changed. So it's just an authentic expression that is unexpected. Next song is called Flood. Chorus, guitar, very gorgeous, high and low voice. Like, it feels to me it's more about kind of working class struggles, or it's about the struggles inside of his head. Nice, loud, drowning guitar solo. My 16-year-old daughter, is obsessed with me telling you this, that this sounds a lot like the song Heat Wave by Julian Baker. So, if you think that's true, please tell me in the comments. Because she's going to ask me over and over again, did anybody comment about the Julian Baker comment? Because it's really the same. It's the exact same guitar thing. It's so cool. The problem with having kids is they're just like you. The great thing about kids is they're just like you. Next song is called Corduroy. Very sad guitar line, kind of a waltzy thing, sort of like a Vitalogy era Pearl Jam. Hey, there's some more cool guys who aren't cool, you know? The older I get, the more I appreciate people who aren't trying to be cool all the time. You know, Pearl Jam? They were just like, what? We're supposed to be like Nirvana? I don't know. We're just going to have a bunch of like IPA dads in our audience and we're just going to make music that we like. Yeah, we're just going to do this now. So you can be romantic heroes. We're just going to be musicians. Kind of a southern twang in the chorus. Gorgeous harmony though here too. Nice outro. Slipping Away. Got sort of a Young Americans drum line here. But that's probably just because Young America is a town in Minnesota. So maybe I'm thinking of that because they're from Minnesota. I don't know. I don't... The way that the drummer comes in over this singing is one of the most consternating moments of music this year. One of the most complicated and hard to parse things I have heard all year. One of the most fascinatingly challenging moments all year is the way that the singer sings this intro and the drummer comes in. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Try to write this out on some kind of notation thing, okay? You could get Adam Neely. Adam Neely could just go to town on this thing. I can't figure out like how I listen to it over to what beat does it come in on? How does it come in on? Like that's the thing. Like these guys they're such a good band. They have so many interesting ideas. They have so many cool things. Oh, okay. Then we get to the song Brand New. The tom and snare intro, a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little more Strokes-like. You know, they've always had kind of a Strokes nature to them. It took me a long time to figure out that the chorus reminds me of that song. I didn't know the name of the song or who wrote it, but the one that went, it takes some time, after some Google searching. Turns out I was talking about The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. I love the way it leads into this little guitar line unexpectedly. Only took me half my life to realize you weren't really mine. I love the way his voice goes super low. Only took half my life. And then this little extended outro bit where it sounds like Take On Me by a-ha. He goes up super high. Then we get to the Stamp Tooth Fairy, and then we're really in the meat of the album. Really, this whole little suite till the end is just awesome. It's not a suite, but this chunk of tunes. The chunk of tunes here. I said that loud enough. Make sure I didn't wake up my baby. Did not. She's asleep. The chunk of tunes here that starts with Tooth Fairy is just great because Madman, really full kind of Vampire Weekend dueling guitar style here. Just a really sweet groove. And then another one of these moments, another one of these 5-star golden nuggets moments where there's this little breakdown with just these drums and these like intentionally fudged sounding guitar notes, this little funk groove. Like I cannot wait to see. I really hope I get to see this tour. I probably won't be able to because I've got the newborn and the 2-year-old and all that stuff. And actually, I had tickets to see Billie Eilish last night, but I couldn't go. I had to pretend like I was less disappointed than my daughter, but I was really disappointed. Why doesn't anyone come to Buffalo anymore, or Rochester, or Syracuse? Why does it always got to be Toronto? It's hard as hell to get up to Toronto. Next track is called Forget It. My least favorite song on the album, so I'm going to forget it. Although I do like that the chorus is Remember It. That's kind of funny. The song Closer's nice, pretty voiceover ringing guitar. Again, more kind of Bruce-like, repeating words. I'll be your closer, baby, all those days are over and they're never coming back. I like this idea because I think he's talking like closer, like a relief pitcher in baseball, the last person to pitch. And I like this because there's that whole thing of like, you know, good guys finish last, or like, you know, like that like people go out and they date people who are bad for them, and they meet all the bad boys or the bad girls or whatever it is, and then they kind of like settle down with a good person. Like, let's have a song for that good person, because that person is awesome. I'm that person. I'm married to that person. If you're lucky, you're that person. You're not lucky if you're running around with chaotic, destructive, toxic jerks. Okay? You're just not. You might even think you are at the time, but you know you're not. We all want a closer, all right? We all want Lee Smith, Dennis Eckersley. You know, that's what we want. All right? Sorry. Emmanuel Classe? No, he's for the Indians. Who's the closer for the Twins right now? You can tell me in the comments. But also, just I like the term closer because whenever I eat sushi, there's always one piece of sushi that I save till the end. I'm like, that's my closer. I got to end on that one. I used to do the same thing with the Taco Bell menu. Mexi-Melt, you're my closer. You know, that like there's so much in life to enjoy, but then you got to pick one thing to be the end. I like the theme. I Got Time is the final track. I really came around on this one. Seriously, like the last like 4 or 5 songs of this album, just perfect. Really cool, like about how lucky he is to be loved. Again, the song is sort of like if Coldplay didn't suck. You know what I mean? It has kind of a yellow feel, but if it didn't suck. I've got time, I'm going nowhere, but I've got all night. Very catchy, beautiful lyric. It does feel Midwestern to me because, you know, just driving around, having all night, having nothing to do. Really nice repetition with these choruses over and over again. So there you go. There's my review of Flood by Hippocampus. These are my Patreons, okay? This is how far I've come in these 6 years. I got all these Patreons who give me money to buy diapers and talk about music. And 6 years ago, I was happy to get I was happy to get this many people to watch my videos in a day, you know? Never give up, everybody. All right. So anyways, what did you think? I imagine if you're watching this, you're a Hippocampus fan. I haven't been on their Reddit or whatever. I don't know what their fans are thinking. But I love it. I'm happy with where they're going, and I'm just happy they're still together and still working, because I think they're going to just keep releasing great albums as long as they can keep it together. All right. Till next time. Oh. Am I going to make the shot this time? We're going to see. Okay? If I make the shot, then you have to promise to listen to Hippocampus 10 times in the next month, okay? Get you in the flippity flip. Oh, so close. You at least have to listen to him 5 times. There's the camera.